Be honest. Who is the greatest enemy in your life? Is it bad luck, fate, or another person? No. The most devastating blows didn't come from others. They were created by the words that came out of your own mouth. And do you know what's most dangerous? Contrary to what you might think, you don't fade away by staying silent. You vanish by speaking too much. Now think about it. Haven't you, in an attempt to pour your heart out to someone, repeatedly ripped off the scab of a wound? Or before even taking the first step, haven't you scorched your fresh dreams under the sun by announcing your goals to everyone? Haven't you, in a moment of anger, said things that can't be taken back? You're aware of this, yet you can't stop talking, can you? Because you've fallen in love with the story of your pain and shortcomings that you keep repeating. Saying, "I'm broke," "I'm so stressed," or "I always fail," provides you with a comfort zone, shielding you from the responsibility of facing real change. Every time you share your troubles, you make that pain a part of your identity. What were once just experiences become your identity when you talk about them. You keep watering the weeds, and those weeds block the path to opportunities and new beginnings. That's exactly why you can't move forward in life. Your tongue, which should be your greatest ally, often becomes a silent enemy that slowly rots you from within. But enough is enough. This video isn't a piece of advice, it's a wake-up call. It's a guide to shattering the unconscious mechanism that pulls the trigger of your tongue. In this video, you'll discover that keeping your mouth shut is the most powerful weapon to rebuild your life. At this point, a 2,000-year-old unshakable wisdom comes into play: Stoicism. For Stoics, silence wasn't a sign of weakness or passivity. On the contrary, it was the ultimate display of refined strength. They were wise individuals who chose to be masters of silence rather than slaves to their words. In this video, we'll adapt this ancient art of the Stoics to modern life. We'll explore the question, what shouldn't you say and when, through 6 fundamental Stoic lessons that can radically transform your life. From talking about past pains to announcing goals you haven't started, from speaking in anger to whispering about others, you'll see how your tongue traps you and how silence can set you free. But before we begin, write this sentence in the comments for a fresh start. Today I speak only for my own good. This sentence will be the first solid seed you plant in your subconscious. Because what you repeat eventually becomes what you live. True power lies not in saying everything, but in knowing what to hold back and when. Let's begin. 1. Stop digging up the past. The first and perhaps most challenging lesson in the Stoic art of silence is this: stop talking about your past pains and negative experiences. We all know that fleeting sense of relief. Pouring your heart out to a friend, recounting an injustice feels like a weight is lifted off your shoulders. But this is like sipping poison in small doses. It gives temporary relief, but slowly corrodes you from within. Every complaint that spills from your tongue is a signature on the wound in your mind. When you tell the same painful story 10 or 20 times, it ceases to be just an event. It becomes your identity. With every retelling, you reattach the label of victim, wronged, or unlucky to yourself. Your experiences build an impenetrable wall around your character. For some, this becomes an emotional addiction. The pitying looks and consoling words from others offer temporary validation. This is a dangerous comfort zone. If the problem is always external, if the blame always lies with others, you're left with no responsibility to change yourself. Talking mimics action. By talking about your problems, you skillfully dodge the responsibility of solving them. True change begins not in noise, but in silence, introspection, and consistency. As the slave philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Reflect on the power of this statement. If you constantly tell yourself the story of how tough my life is, your brain will act like a magnet, pulling in every hardship to prove that story and presenting it to you. This is the scarcity mindset. Redirect your energy from what hurts you to what builds you. Change the focus of your tongue. Stop recounting what happened to you and start talking about what you want to create, but not to prove it to others, only to draw a new roadmap for your mind. Stop being the gravedigger of your past. Become the architect of your future. And remember, true architects work not with words, but with silent plans and by stacking bricks one by one. 2. Don't pull the sapling out of the soil too soon. The second critical situation where you must keep your mouth shut. Don't announce your budding goals or transformation process to anyone. Starting a new book, signing up for the gym, or deciding to change a dynamic in your life sparks something inside you. It's such an exciting feeling that you want to share it immediately. Don't. That initial intention is as fragile as a sapling under the soil. Exposing it to the sunlight of others' opinions, judgments, or even praise too soon is one of the biggest and most critical mistakes you can make. Behind this lies a simple yet brutal psychological trap. Your brain is a cunning machine. It doesn't distinguish much between real success and the recognition of success. When you talk about your goal before taking a single step, the congratulations and approval you receive send a reward signal to your brain. This cheap sense of victory prevents you from doing the actual hard, disciplined work. You trade the power of action for the false satisfaction of words. And that's not all. The outside world is unpredictable. Even the most well-meaning advice can shake your unrooted sapling with a gust of doubt. A skeptical look asking, "Can you really do this?" Or a comment like, "I tried that and it didn't work," plants toxic seeds in your mind. Remember, transformation is a personal battle. No one else can fully feel the warmth of the fire you've ignited within. That's why Stoics have taught us for centuries. As Epictetus famously said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Don't say you're a new person, be that person. Don't claim you're more disciplined, act disciplined. Every moment you try to prove your change, you show you're still dependent on external approval. Protect your goals and promises to yourself like a sacred garden. Shield it from the crowd's winds and noise. Nurture that garden silently and patiently with your own discipline. The more valuable what you're building is, the more carefully you must protect it. True change grows in silence, and when the time comes, words are unnecessary. Your existence speaks for itself. 3. Don't open your sacred ground to everyone. Now we come to the most delicate, intimate, and critical lesson in the Stoic art of silence. Keep quiet about your unhealed wounds and deepest fears. The modern world tells us vulnerability is a strength. This is true, but incomplete. Opening up a wound too soon or to the wrong people isn't a display of strength. It's an invitation to infection. Vulnerability becomes a strength only when you know when, to whom, and how much to open up. Sharing recklessly leaves you defenseless. When you share your deepest fears, you expect understanding. But even well-meaning people often lack the maturity to carry that burden. They may measure your deepest trauma against their shallow experiences, saying, "You're overreacting," or worse, offering meaningless platitudes that trivialize your pain. Imagine two ships sailing side by side in the same sea. They're identical, built by the same engineer, made of the same wood, with the same sails. A storm hits, battering both with the same giant waves and winds. When the storm clears, one ship returns to port shaken but upright, while the other sinks to the ocean floor. Why? The ships were the same, the storm was the same, but the captains were different. One was experienced, with a disciplined crew that had weathered many storms. Your trauma is like that ship. When someone says, "I've been through that too," they've only seen the ship's exterior. They can't know your inner captain, the exhaustion of your crew, or the scars left by storms you've survived. Expecting understanding and validation from others before you've given it to yourself is like asking an echo to guide you. It only reflects your anxiety back. Stoicism teaches us not to suppress fears, but to analyze them in our minds like a scientist in a lab. As Seneca said, most of what we fear consumes us before it even happens. The real battle isn't external, it's the story you build in your mind about that fear. Instead of amplifying that story by sharing it, face it in silence. Take your fear, place it under an objective light, strip it of emotional outbursts, and truly understand it. Silence is the greatest healer of deep wounds. A wound healed in silence, within yourself, becomes more resilient to the winds of the outside world. You heal not through others' approval, but through your own will. Never forget your wounds are sacred ground. You alone decide who steps on that soil and what seeds are planted there. If you ever share your fears, let it not be a cry for help but a story of a victory won, told only after the wound has begun to heal, with clarity on why, to whom, and how much you share. True strength lies not in telling everything to everyone, but in knowing what remains private. For water your own garden, not others. Now we come to the most common, contagious, and toxic trap of the tongue. Stay silent about others' lives. Gossip. Gossip is the mind's sweet but nutrient-empty junk food. It offers a fleeting thrill, a false sense of alliance, and a temporary feeling of superiority. Criticizing someone absent from the table creates a secret bond, making you feel part of a group. But this is like gathering in a building with a crumbling foundation. Gossip is an invisible IOU. It first takes a piece of the absent person's reputation, but later collects the real debt from your character and trustworthiness. Even if the listener seems to agree, they note in the back of their mind, "This person will talk about me the same way when I'm not around." The short-term bond you build creates long-term distrust that erodes relationships from within. From a Stoic perspective, gossip is a character flaw. Magnifying others' mistakes is the easiest way to avoid facing your own shortcomings and the disciplined path of self-improvement. As the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, surrounded by intrigue and whispers, set a simple rule for himself. If you can't fix someone's flaws, at least don't talk about them. This isn't just a moral lesson, it's a law of energy conservation. Every word is either a tool for repair or a weapon of destruction. Instead of spending your mental energy rummaging through others' debris, use it to build your own structure. The next time the sweet thrill of gossip tempts your tongue, pause and ask yourself this magic question. Who am I serving by saying this? If the answer benefits neither you, the listener, nor the person you're talking about, choose silence. Don't confuse criticism with gossip. Criticism is like a surgeon's scalpel, used at the right time with the right person and with the intent to heal. Gossip is a rusty knife, swung from behind to wound. True strength lies not in laying someone's reputation on the table, but in quietly and solidly building your own. Let others talk, you water your own garden. For us, don't leave the harbor during a storm. Your tongue is your most dangerous weapon, but its trigger is pulled not by your mind, but by your emotions. Here we come to perhaps the most immediate, common, and destructive mistake. Keep your mouth shut during moments of anger and impulsive outbursts. We all know that moment, a flash of rage, a sense of injustice, and words pour out like an unstoppable flood, wounding a relationship, breaking trust, or leaving a mark that lingers for years. Regret always comes a second after those words. Stoics remind us, the words you speak in anger aren't your true thoughts. They're debris scattered by the storm within. Spilling every emotion recklessly isn't relief. It's your soul leaking uncontrollably. True mastery is holding the helm of your ship even in the fiercest storm. How is this possible? One of Stoicism's most revolutionary teachings is this: between an event and your reaction lies a tiny space. When someone insults you, or an event enrages you, there's a brief moment, maybe a second or less, between the impulse and your response. True power lies in that space. It's not about surrendering to the first impulse like an animal, but observing it and consciously deciding what to do. As Marcus Aurelius said, mastering your own soul is the true victory. To win this victory before letting words spill, hold them in that tiny space and ask, does what I'm about to say hold value? Will it repair or destroy? If the answer is destruction, silence is the greatest wisdom. Some battles are won by never starting, and sometimes the most powerful response, the most crushing argument, the wisest word is silence itself. 6. The discipline of the tongue is the discipline of life. In the previous 5 lessons, we learned how to navigate the minefield of our tongue. Now we reach the core principle that keeps us from stepping into that minefield altogether, the heart of all these lessons. The sixth and final lesson isn't a rule but a way of life. The discipline of the tongue is the discipline of life. Your tongue is the rudder of your soul. Where it turns, your life follows. If you can't control your tongue, you can't control your emotions, impulses, or ultimately your destiny. Knowing what to say and when is not mere politeness. It's the outward expression of deep inner mastery. To achieve this mastery, consider the echo your words will create. Don't just ask, is what I'm saying true? The more important question is this truth constructive? Will it heal a wound or deepen it? Don't confuse being right with being wise. True wisdom is the art of saying the truth in the right way. The greatest master of this art is a good listener. Epictetus's timeless advice is like a biological code. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak. True listening isn't waiting for your turn to reply. It's silencing your ego to understand. In those moments of silence, you begin the most important dialogue with yourself. The silent promises you make to yourself form the foundation of your character. As you keep those promises, your dependence on external applause diminishes, and your confidence grows from within. Silence isn't an empty void to fear. It's a fortress to retreat to in stressful moments, a chamber to observe your emotions like a sage, not to suppress but to understand them. Silence is a healing space. Ultimately, these 6 lessons show us how to build inner control and self-mastery through our words, the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Instead of shallow-rooted trees that topple in storms, we must be like trees with deep, resilient roots that bend, but stand firm. Power grows not in noise, but in depth. Let's prioritize nurturing the roots that shape ourselves and our lives in the silent, dark, fertile soil. Storms test depth, not the surface. Thank you for staying with us on this deep journey. If these lessons added value to your life, like this video to help this wisdom reach more people. To join this family and not miss future guides, subscribe to our channel. For daily Stoic reminders and practical lessons, follow us on Instagram @StoicPhilosopher. To dive deeper into the art of silence, check out the other videos now appearing on your screen. Remember, the greatest victories are won in the quietest moments. Until the next video, stay stoic and know when to keep your mouth shut.